All right, welcome to Survive to Thrive, everybody. Happy Thursday. Today, we are absolutely blessed to have rock star agent Victoria Melton share a very awesome strategy that I bet most of you are not familiar with. So, Victoria, the stage is yours. If we can wrap it up somewhere around 9:22, so we have time for questions, and I know we're going to have a lot of questions. And I also have an announcement for tomorrow that I want to get in before we finish. So, Victoria, the floor is yours.
Can we start with the announcement?
I don't know if it's going to add energy or take energy away, but now that I said that, I pretty much have to do it, right?
You don't have to. I can do this. This won't take long.
It's okay. So for anybody who's going, gee whiz, what's he going to tell us? It just has to do with tomorrow's Survive to Thrive. And we are going to do something very, very different because April 5th is a pretty important date in my life. And every year on April 5th, I want to take time to do this. So I will share that with you tomorrow.
See, now I'm excited. Okay.
There you
I mean,
go.
if it's substantial, it's good.
That's right.
So my name is Victoria Melton. I live in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I live 10 minutes, actually closer than that, 7 or 8 minutes from Wake Forest University. And we have Wake Forest University Baptist Hospital, which is a huge hospital on this side of the state. Um, so how many of you know what match day is?
Hey everybody, I'm John Dietz, speaker, trainer, coach, and business.
Sorry about the background noise, Victoria. You got the floor.
That was, hey, I was gonna let you have it back. Um,
No, I want it back.
so match day, for those that don't know, match day is where resident doctors get matched to the hospital they're going to be training at and learning at. So match day, it's usually around March 17th. I already looked for 2026. It's actually March 20th next year. And so I have a really good friend. He is a doctor. He's over the oncology department at LSU, and he used to work at Wake Forest. And so he brought it to my attention that a lot of big hospitals have a concierge service um, from realtors. And they would take doctors coming in and transferring, and doctors are recruited just like we are to brokerages. And what I have learned, as brilliant as doctors are, they want easy. They don't really care about your market data. They care about distance to the hospital. They care about what you could do for them and how easy you can make this. The less they have to do and the more you take off their plate in the home buying process, it's easier. Where, I mean, not to point out or be stereotypical, but have you ever worked with an engineer in a transaction? Yeah, not easy, right? Not easy. Doctors, way easier because they don't need to know everything. They need to trust that you know everything about your profession.
Mhm.
A lot of realtors in my area are actually married to doctors. But the cool thing, so I thought I was going to give up on this idea. But 2 years ago, I decided, you know what, I'm going to do this because you can't know every doc. The hospitals are huge. And when you're in your niche profession, you can't know everyone and you don't know everyone. So what I did is I contacted the HR department at the hospital and I asked them, what do you give doctors who are or resident doctors who are fresh out of school and coming to a new area they don't know? So they would give them packets of just rental apartments near the hospital. And I asked if I could make packets with the area information. There are two neighborhoods near Wake Forest Baptist that a lot of medical professions tend to want to buy in or rent because it's super close. And they're really good areas too. So in this packet, I partnered with a lender who gives 100% doctor loan. And not all lenders have it. Ask your lender if they have it. And what I do, the cover sheet for this did not print out right. I've had printer issues since yesterday, but I do the cover sheet is not me. It is my lender because what's most important is that these people know that they can get a 100% loan. So I put her information on the front. And the cool thing about my lender is she is a ride or die, and she actually did not have a 100% doctor loan. She had to go get certified for this loan. So she did it so we could build this packet together. So she is the front of this, and always will be. Second page, usually this is all black printer issues. This is an introduction of who I am. And then I do plug myself. This is so vain. This is so vain, but I don't really give a shit. So I did a few months ago, I was on the cover of Real Producers, and what they do when you order more of the copies, they give you just your cover and they give you just your article copy. And
Victoria, hold that magazine up again. So,
Yeah.
no, you need the floor. I had the floor. Yep. There it is. Hold it.
my fat arms.
Stop it.
No, I had an agent say, man, that's an unfortunate position. Your arms look huge. But anyway, so I put that article in there because then they really get to know who I am and why I'm in real estate. Then I do a map of the neighborhood, the 2 neighborhoods that are near the hospital that people tend to go to. So I do that and I go on RPR. And the only data I put in there, which I find is interesting, is you could go on their market trends when you pull up that neighborhood. And this is the only interesting thing I do. It'll say who lives in that neighborhood. And it's 70% of medical professionals in that neighborhood. Here it is, healthcare and social assistance make up 80% of
Hey everybody, I'm John Dietz, speaker, trainer.
Is that me or is that that's got to be someone else because I
Keep
don't
going,
know
Victoria.
your video.
Yeah.
Okay, so I put that in there, and then there is an analysis for the next 12 months, how your house is going to go up in value. And so also learn that medical residents, they're at that hospital for 3 to 7 years, depending on if they're going to be a surgeon, family doctor, or what they're practicing. So you want to keep up with these people as well, because in 3 years, they're going to list. So I have 2 listings from residents who are moving on to their next hospital. And so, and if you look, I Googled this morning just because I was interested. I usually don't look up when the exact match day is for the year until January. And just get to work because this is simple because all your printouts are going to be exactly the same, right? So it's not like having to do, not market analysis, but CMAs and a home equity report, and you're doing different homes. This is super simple because you're just printing out multiple pages of the same thing. I also do a write-up of what's close to these areas, the coffee shops, the restaurants, local, and I stick to local business. I put 0 corporate businesses in these. And then I go to the local businesses and I say, is there anything you want to put in this packet? I have a Ardmore coffee shop. They give me about $25 gift cards for a cup of coffee. You can walk to it from the hospital. I go into 2 restaurants and there's a brewery that they give $10 gift cards. We get about 20 of those to put in these packets. If you have to buy them, it's worth the investment because you're probably, if you hand out 20, 30 packets, you're probably going to get one. I probably get about 6 or 7 phone calls. And if they start talking when they're at the hospital, then someone's going to pipe up and say, "Oh, well, my wife is a realtor." And so sometimes I do lose to the wives, to the spouses of these doctors who talk. However, even 1, 2, or 3 deals, because what's really cool is I have one of my biggest transactions coming up. They're leaving Ardmore, they're staying at Wake Forest Baptist. And there's a neighborhood next to it that is Buena Vista, and we call it like it's old Hollywood here. And that's where they tend to gravitate towards. So that's all I do. Super simple. You get to incorporate local businesses. And that's important to me too as a realtor, because we are our own local business. And I'm not against chain things, but I like to see our community thriving.
I love everything you just said. Guys, put your hands up. I'm going to go back to change the view so I can see all of you. We've got 2 hands up so far, 4. So keep them coming. Victoria, you ready for some questions?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Shannon, you're up. Geraldine, you're on deck.
Victoria, that's a great strategy. I used to work in the healthcare industry, so for a manufacturer. So that's a really good idea. When you were working with the HR department, did you do anything else outside of moving through HR to get to the doctors? And how did you know that it was getting put into motion?
So next year, well, because I become friends with everyone, Shannon, and when people, I do. And the HR department connected me with someone else who connected me with someone else. And then I went back to the HR department and I said, this person said this, and this. How can I make this happen? She said, bring your packets up here. So instead of the apartment packets, and when you tell someone, hey, local businesses are in here, and because let's face it, not a lot of people appreciate what we do as realtors. They don't. We're fighting the public, we fight all the things. And so when you're in it for everyone else, they're going to support you. So when they have their, I did cross the line and say if I could speak to them and hand them out myself. And that was a no, because everyone's busy, it's chaotic. And so when they give their orientation at the hospital, they hand out these packets. And then they still hand out with the apartment communities, but these are on top. And so I actually order black, my branding is black and white. So I order black envelopes because it stands out over the manila envelopes that they do. And I put my brand on the front. I put my logo on the front. I don't put my name because all of that's inside. But they just hand them out with the apartment ones. And they said the more they get comfortable with what we're doing, this was the second year I've done it, then maybe. But there are a lot of spouses there that are in real estate. So you're fighting against that, but there's enough business to go around.
Geraldine, you're up. Hawk, you were on deck. Joanne, you're in the hole.
Daria, thank you for sharing this. This is amazing. There's so much in my head, but I come from a family of doctors, so this is amazing, and I kind of very familiar to what you said today. One initiative that I took early this year is that I partnered with another agent, and what we did was that we're going to do soon. It's a first-time buyers seminar, specifically for nurses and doctors, so they get to know, how do they, start this approach. And we had our lender that he's also certified in all of the programs and all of that for doctors. There's so many good things there for doctors, like very similar to beds where they, let you buy at a certain rate, cheaper, and then because they're like essential workers, right? So he offered that as well. So there's a big chance that most of them choose to buy first because of building equity and all of that. I know renting to get to know, but it's so true because these people are here for about 3 to 7 years until they go to their next assignment or they choose to. So that's one thing that I wanted to share, and that like an initiative like maybe lunch and learn, so they can just come here, because most of them they don't even know, and they don't know that there are these programs that will specifically help them as doctors. And I would love to borrow your idea because it is so good, so good.
Geraldine, I agree. Thanks for sharing that. Guys, go ahead, Victoria. It's your.
Can I add one thing that I do put in my introduction so one thing that's on their mind when they graduate are the mounds of student loans they have. And we have our E&O insurance and then they have their insurance that is super sky high. And what we think is made right off the bat is not what is made. And so what I put in my cover letter is how important it is to get equity in a home, because in 3 years when they're ready to sell, they could take that equity and target, and I put this, you could put it on your student loans or you could put it into your next home investment. And sometimes I've talked to a few that do both. They'll put half here and half there, or stick with the smaller home and knock out those student loans. But real estate gives you a way to spend bigger amounts of money than what you're going to make in a year sometimes.
Smart.
So I like to get them thinking other than it just being a house.
Super smart. Thank you, Victoria. Okay, guys, so questions and keep them short so that we can get through everybody here, okay? Hawk, you're up. Karen, you're on deck.
I missed something. How is it that you're getting in the door?
I just called the HR department at the hospital.
Okay.
Once you make a call to someone in the office, they're going to lead you to this person who will lead you. It's a rabbit hole sometimes. And then if you know someone who works there, I would go to them first and say, who do I call for this?
Mhm.
But usually if you Google HR, I just Googled the number and I was just like, this is who I am. What do I need to do? Who do I need to talk to?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Love that. Keep it simple. Karen Rawlings, you're up.
Victoria, that was amazing. I just
Mhm.
want to say thank you. That was amazing. And I can't believe I have not done that. I'm 2 blocks from the hospital. And I know, this is like a big, huge aha moment. You'll be getting a thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Karen. James Johnson, you are up, and Brian, you are on deck.
Is that hospital that you go to, is that just a single like system, or is that part of a bigger system? Because like a lot of what's here in Austin is Ascension Seton, who's got 6 hospitals, or St. David's, who's got, right? Like, do you feel like it's easier because it may be just a one, or is that a larger system?
No, it's a much larger system.
Okay.
They have built smaller hospitals throughout the community, because our area goes into really rural areas and they built hospitals out there. And so I just haven't gone to those areas just yet because I want to make sure I'm perfecting what I have here, and kind of probably wrong call for wrong conversation, but using this so other agents can use it too, because as one person, I can't target all of them. So I need more manpower who's gonna follow up and do the other ones. We have about 4 branches that are pretty large.
And you just focus on one.
I do.
Okay.
I focus on
Thank
the of them all.
I got a question in the chat, Victoria, that I'll share. This is from Francel. Let's see here. What's the average price point in those areas around the hospital in comparison to your overall market?
Oh gosh. Well, my market, our average price point is 289,000.
Yeah, right. By the way,
Just-
it's not from Francel. It's from an iPhone though. But
We are one of the top 10 most affordable places to live. We are right between Charlotte and Raleigh, North Carolina, where their average price point is $415 for Charlotte, and I believe it's $460 for Raleigh. Much bigger deals. The areas that these doctors are living in, they run about $350, some $400. I've got 2 under contract right now. One's $360 and one's $400. But even though these aren't going to be your bigger price points, you're building up to that. And when you do a good job, and I look at every client, I don't look at the price of the sale. I look at the future business and the referrals. So I just started my 5th year in real estate 2 days ago on April 1st. And most of my business now is from past client referrals. So that's really what you're going to help them. You're going to give them the best customer service, but also business, not talking about peopling, but business, you're going for that referral as well and building that relationship.
Brian Copeland.
I have a couple part question. Number one, you mentioned you make packets. Do you get them printed at Kinko's, hardback, clear cover? Like how fancy are they? And then you said you like leave them there. So you're relying on the HR department to mail them out, or do you give them like a flipbook PDF version as well? And then last question is, do you reward the HR department, whoever your contact is, for giving your name out every time? Do you ever send little thank you gifts, whether you get the deal or not?
Yes. So I print them out at our local, I have a Staples right here. So I just send them off to have printed. I bind them so they're glossy, and then I leave, I have my home warranty girl in here, and there's like 3 or 4 extra things that I don't put in the booklet. And so I do that. I bind them and then I put them in the envelope. I do reward her because one, I said I become friends with everyone. So not only, and as realtors, we're kind of like the FBI. I know where she lives. And 2, I can't tell you what I do because it may cross the line.
I love
You
that.
can only send so many gifts. Like you can't gift, you know what I mean? But I do. I do because I'm very grateful for her. But she hands them out at their orientation. Instead of mailing them out, she'll hand them out at their orientation.
Victoria, we'll edit that out before this goes live on YouTube.
Thank you. I send them lunch. I send office lunch.
There's no price limit on how much you can give a friend.
That's true. I send a tray of chicken nuggets from Chick-fil-A. Thank you for that. Cut it all out, John.
All right, not editing it anymore. Anna, I see your hand, and we're gonna go over time here, guys. Please don't jump, okay? Anna's up and last. So talk to us, Anna.
Hi. How many do you leave out for these people? How many packets?
I print out about 50.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that kind of goes to what Brian was saying as well. These people, these doctors are actually coming into the hospital. The HR department is handing these off in person. They're not going out in the mail. At least that's the way I understand it. Tell me if I'm wrong, Victoria.
You're right. You're right.
Okay, cool. All right. Tomorrow. So tomorrow's Survive to Thrive is either going to be a Survive to Thrive that you want to invite your friends to, or it's going to be one that you don't want to be on. And I'll explain. And I'm okay with either one, by the way. So 3 years ago, I had someone who was very close to me, a friend for life. You know, when we grow up, we all have friends, right? And if you guys are like I am, your friends from when you were in school are probably some of the closest friends you have. And I had a friend that I knew from the age of 14, and we did everything together all the way up until he passed away from pancreatic cancer 3 years ago, April 5th. And prior to Perry passing away, and we knew that his time was limited, I did an interview with him on Survive to Thrive one morning, and it is titled Flap Your Butterfly Wings. And the whole idea behind the interview was, you know, you can flap your butterfly wings and change the world. Now, Perry is somebody who grew up with hard drug and alcohol addictions. And he went into Alcoholics Anonymous. Basically, the police told him, you go or you go to jail. In his 20s, he might have been 30, I forget, but late 20s. And up until the day he died, he was alcohol free, which is, if you know anything about AA, somebody who can make it 30 years plus is like a fraction of 1%. It's rare. And then on top of that, he lived the last 10 months of his life, not as a victim, but as somebody who was going to spend the last 10 months of his life to change lives of other people. And this interview is powerful. If you've seen the video, it's on my YouTube channel. Show up anyways. But I'm letting you know, in case you have someone that you know is dealing with an addiction that you want to invite to tomorrow's Survive to Thrive. It's going to be amazing for them. Or anybody who's in adversity. This guy's a role model for dealing with adversity and not being a victim up until the day he died. And we're going to show that video during Survive to Thrive tomorrow. I hope that you come, and I understand if you don't. You guys are awfully quiet.
Thank you,
John.
John.
I'm
Thank you,
assuming this is
Victoria. It's
good
been
work.
awesome.
Yes.
John, I'm assuming that you mean invite others outside of the real estate world.
You can invite anybody you want to invite. That's right. Invite anybody you want to invite. Yeah, and let's close this. See, I told you, Victoria, this is why I didn't want to share it at the
I
beginning.
think this is great. I think it's necessary because you lose perspective sometimes.
100%, I think it's necessary. I just didn't want to do that before you spoke. So, everybody, give it up for Victoria. That was amazing knowledge that she dropped on us. This will be on my YouTube channel later today. Please share it with your real estate friends. Guys, I've been in the business for 22 years. I didn't know anything about Match Day until I started working with Victoria a couple of years ago. All right. Make it a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you all.
Go get them.
Thanks,
John. Thank you, Victoria.
See you tomorrow.
Go get them, guys.
See y'all tomorrow.